what do you think it is about grief that seems to awaken our intuition? And then a second part of that is how can we kind of poke it with a stick and wake it up without waiting for some big life changing
Right.
catastrophe to occur?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And like this topic is so dear to me
Mm.
because I found myself in a situation where I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's this little voice that keeps coming back? And I had to work through that because I was just like, well, is it me telling myself these things? I don't think so. But yeah, so like I addressed that in the book too. And like it's so funny because once I had the time to pause and go on that sabbatical, I realized how intuitive we are and how to leverage that power. I mean, and it translates in the boardroom with friends, with our relationships. It has so many impacts. So I think it gets switched on when we're in a state of pause. I really do. And I've conducted, like I don't know if, like this was in an article or it was in the book, but I conducted like an intuition experiment where when I came back, I felt like, and I went back to work, I felt like I lost it completely. I didn't hear it anymore. I didn't hear it guiding me. It was just switched off. And I remember for the book asking this intuition expert, what is it that made it erupt like a volcano on sabbatical? And then when I came back and got busy again, it seemingly went away. And she said, yeah, because you're in a meditative state. You're in a state where you're totally tuned in to yourself and to your desires, what you want. And once you get out of that state into a state of busyness again and focusing on noise, the noise around, then it goes dormant. And so like in the book,
Mm.
like we talk about, dormant intuition versus active intuition, and it does go dormant. And I think that's a big loss when it does go dormant, because I feel like, there are times when I miss it and
Mm.
I have to take the time to make it come back again, and it can come back. And it can come back in short periods too. Like we don't need to have 3 months, 5 months, a year.
Yeah.
It can be 2 weeks of meditation. Because on sabbatical, for instance, I got up at 3 a.m. in the morning and just sat there and meditated and waited for that voice. And I had the luxury of doing that. And that voice would tell me, in terms of my decisions for the day or anything I was contemplating, um, kind of like what to do. And
Mm.
so that's when I got really deeply into a state of being creative and kind of moving forward in a way that was very productive for my life. Like I talk about the productivity paradox all the time, because that to me was one of the things that became evident on sabbatical. Here I was away from work, taking a pause, and I felt like I was most productive in terms of designing my life and the way forward, and kind of coming up with these concepts that I
Mm.
think are life changing. But yet still, if I'm at work and I'm doing my meetings and my day-to-day tasks, yes, I'm being productive, but what am I really changing, and how can I really make big impacts? So I think in terms of intuition, it's that's why I dedicated like a whole chapter to it, because I feel like it's so important for us to be able to tune into that, for it to guide us. And it's one of those forces where we all have it, and we can either nurture it or not. And so very important, I think, for decision making, to nurture that.